Center here in Denver, Colorado. It wasn't just a big night of fight. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Good left hand from Rockhold. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Could I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. I'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Folks, what a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Perry on the turn. Right hand from Mike Perry. Double check. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the...
Welcome to hour number 3, our third and final live right here on this Tuesday on the early line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. One more hour to go up until 11 a.m. Eastern Time. The Daily Bases returns with Craig Mish later on in this third and final hour. Plenty of baseball breakdowns around what should be a full slate in MLB on this Tuesday. And our guy, George Balekji from Nesson, in the greater New England area, is here later in this.
Or the expectations, or if any expectations, are from this season for the New England Patriots. But an action-packed hour number 3 about to be underway, and we got a lot of info to get to, that's for sure.
You trying to talk Jason Tatum and his absences during the Olympic run and what it means for Boston? Yep. Yeah, I figured you might. All right, we start here in this third and final hour, though. After the big news yesterday in the National Football League, the Dallas Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb signing a 4-year contract extension worth $136 million. That's $35 million per year, making CeeDee the second highest paid non-quarterback and or wide receiver in the history of the NFL. If it's all positivity now at the Star, will Dallas accomplish something they have not in nearly 3 decades? That was the question for you in Fade the Public. Donnie, when you are Build America's team, you are expected to do things that no other team probably has that same level of success year in, year out in the NFL. Is it fair? Is it unfair? It's what Jerry Jones has crafted over 3.5 decades as the owner in Dallas. So, after signing CeeDee Lamb, do we feel more optimistic about the Cowboys' outlook entering the 2024 NFL season? That was virtually the question to Fade the Public at SportsGrid on Twitter. Are the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl contenders this season? Yes or no? 85% of the public saying not a stinking chance. I agree with the public. What do you say, Donnie?
It's hard because what is your definition of being a Super Bowl contender? Does it mean that you are the best team in the NFC and the best team in the AFC, and you're the two only contenders for the season? Or is it a team that has a legitimate chance to make the playoffs and win at least one playoff game, therefore putting you in the divisional round and on to the championship round if you can make it that far? Because if you're just differentiating, saying, I only think it's the Chiefs and the 49ers, well, then, you have a limited scope, and I understand it. But if you are evaluating what a contender actually means, which is one of the better records in the NFL, not the best, Ben, right? Maybe a top 4 in each division, or top 4 in each conference. I think the Dallas Cowboys can actually do that. And there's no home bias here. Like, well, I would love the Dallas Cowboys to go 3-14 next year. But let's be honest. Their MO is not playing regular seasons where they're porous and they're bad. Their MO is, we win double-digit games, which puts us into the dance. Now, whether or not you can perform in the dance is a different story. But if you told me this year the expectations for the Cowboys, challenge for the NFC East, and let's just say they don't win it, they can still go on the road and win a playoff game. I've watched them do that under Dak Prescott. Or in a home game here, possibly win a game. Now, last year it didn't work out in their favorite home against the Green Bay Packers. They were terrible. But depending on what your definition is of a Super Bowl contender, that means contending in the playoffs. I think the Dallas Cowboys can win at least one game in the playoffs this year. So therefore, I actually think they're a contender. But again, if your idea of a contender is, can they actually win the Super Bowl? Well, then you're going to be voting no, and that should be a landslide at that point.
And that's really where I think the juxtaposition of this argument is found, right? Because when you look at Dallas, last Lombardi Trophy was 1995. It was a decade of success in the 80s into the early 90s at the Star. How could you not love everything that was happening with America's team? But in the 28 NFL seasons since, in the 3 decades since that has happened, the Dallas Cowboys have failed to even reach the NFC Championship game. Last Super Bowl ring, 1995. 13 playoff appearances in the last 28 NFL seasons. And they have failed to even get past the divisional round and into a conference championship game. It's not all on Dak Prescott or Mike McCarthy, but they have not flipped the narrative by any means, either of the last 3 years or in Dak's Dallas career, which dates back to 2016. Prescott just 2-7 in playoff appearances for the Dallas Cowboys. So it really does go to the argument of what is considered a contender. For most teams around the National Football League, Donnie, I think you would lay out a path. The Cowboys win total 9.5. The over has the hefty juice. Expected to be a double-digit team. Favored with a pretty good number to get to the playoffs. All right, that team can then contend. They are one of the 7 that makes it to the postseason to give themselves an opportunity to make a deep playoff run. Win 1 or 2 games to play for a conference championship. That is the definition of contender. A team we expect to be in the postseason with then a great shot of making some noise come the playoffs. But also to be considered a conference contender, wouldn't that then mean getting to a conference championship game? And that is something Dallas has failed to do. And the market reflects that. Earlier in the offseason, 10.5 was the win total for Dallas. The Cowboys, an 8-1 price to win the NFC. It used to be a 6-1 number. They are now tied for the 4th best price around the conference, tied for the 9th best price, rounding out the top 10 at 18-1 to win Super Bowl 59. And again, any other team not named the Dallas Cowboys, if I were to have told you that in the last 3 years, they have won 12 games each of the last 3 seasons, they have taken home 2 divisional titles in 2 of the last 3 years, you would say that team is the definition of a contender. But because of who the Cowboys are and what the expectation is, they're in Fort Worth. In my estimation, no. I do not consider the Cowboys a Super Bowl contender. I would not take Donnie's money. I would not take Friezo's money. I would not take my worst enemy's money and put it on the Cowboys to win the NFC Championship or a Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah, and you look, and everything has been proved right in the past with us. Since that 1995 season, they've been dreadful. They haven't even gotten back to an NFC championship game, let alone being in a Super Bowl with a chance to win it here. And that does factor in. But if you just go back to last year, when the Eagles just tumbled all over themselves late in the season and gifted that high seed and also division championship to the Dallas Cowboys. Do you remember last year they were riding high into the playoffs? And after that game against the Green Bay Packers, before anybody had a chance to even digest what had happened, they surrounded Jerry Jones, got the cameras in his face, got the microphones in his face, and asked him questions. He didn't have an answer because he honestly said, like, I don't know what to say because this loss was so devastating. Like, we never saw this coming. Like, Jerry Jones saw the stars aligning with the Eagles falling off the planet last year as this could be my chance to finally get back to a Super Bowl or at least an NFC championship. And they got their doors blown off here. So a lot of that is short-term memory worth saying, okay, I don't care they went 12 wins last year. I expect them to go 10 wins, 11 wins this year and not compete in the playoffs. There is something to be said about that. But the expectations were super bust once they took control of the NFC East last year and fell flat on their faces. That's what we've been talking about for the Dallas Cowboys in the 1990s. Maybe they can come back this year, but being a contender for the Super Bowl, which means they make the playoffs with a chance to win playoff games, I think they can do that this year. I do.
And who knows what 2025 has in store? Will Dak or Mike McCarthy even be there? Around MLB next.
I told y'all time and time again, Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup ball. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And that's a good point. And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about 20.
Not a bad one. The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
It was a meaningful Monday around Major League Baseball ahead of a full Tuesday live right here on the early line on SportsGrid. And we start with a round of applause and a sincere bit of gratitude from my end to our MLB insider and the host of Newswire, Craig Mish, because as the Royals sweep the Guardians in a doubleheader yesterday in Cleveland, 2 wins for KC pushed them to 74 this year over their preseason win total of 73.5. Before we even got to September, Craig, I don't know how you do what you do, but I thank you sincerely because I bet that with your advice and guidance way back in the winter.
Yeah, look, betting is not easy, but this tends to be one of the things that I'm really good at, are these season win totals. I would not claim to be really good at anything when it comes to sports betting, but look, I think part of this, as we've talked about, and we'll do it again next season, is focusing more on the teams in the middle that can go over and the teams in the middle that can go under. I just think it's a really smart way to go about it. To win that bet, Ben, before September is sort of insane. But the other one on the Angels under, we're gonna win. We're gonna win that one in the next 2 weeks too. So those were the two going into the season, and those are going to play out the way we thought.
The Halos 54 and 77. They have lost 5 in a row. We have an under of 72 and a hook. The Angels would have to go 19 and 12 over their final 31 to go over. That will be another round of applause here very, very soon, I anticipate. History made yesterday, Craig Mish, in MLB, and that's where we will start as we hit every single bag in the daily basis.
Craig!
Love to throw it in there every now and then. You know what Lisi was probably screaming yesterday? Danny, as in Danny Jansen, who was playing yesterday for the Red Sox, but started this year in Toronto, was playing for the Jays in a game on Wednesday, June 26th against Boston when the game was suspended and it was resumed yesterday. So Danny Jansen, who was traded by Toronto to Boston ahead of the trade deadline, was catching for the Sox yesterday and becomes the first player in MLB history to play for both teams in the same game. Craig, how will you remember Monday, August 26th in the history of MLB?
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're going to forget about this one. But
nice.
For at least, I mean, honestly, but for one day, yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. It was interesting. I think they were talking about, will he be able to throw himself out behind home plate if he steals second base? There were a lot of people that were confused with this, how the box score works and everything else. But certainly I think for at least one day, I think not only did Major League Baseball do a fun job of this, but I thought both the Blue Jays and Red Sox did a good job of this on the scoreboard, showing him twice. So a really, really cool day. And it goes down to probably remembering this 10, 20 years from now. If we ever ask ourselves the question, anybody play for two teams on one day, we will remember this. But this is one of those things where I think we move forward and on to everything else.
Yeah, let's move forward to some real stories now at this point. That means Dylan Cruz got brought up by the Washington Nationals, the 2023 number 2 overall pick. He goes 0 for 3, but we're expecting big things out of Cruz. And the story now is Washington on the rebuild. What are the expectations for Dylan Cruz for the rest of the month of September? And also, do we think he's going to start with the ball club in 2025 here to start the season?
Oh yeah, I mean he's going to be in their opening day lineup with James Wood and these young prospects. Washington is headed in the right direction, Donnie. I still feel like next year is that year that the Nationals with those players and some others get like closer to 500. That kind of feels about accurate. Yeah. And then 2 years from now they dive back into free agency. Remember, this is the same team that spent hundreds of $millions on Steven Strasburg, so they're not afraid to spend money. But I do think if they look in the division and they see the Phillies, and they see the Braves, and even the Mets, the Washington's probably going to approach this like, hey, let's wait another year to see if those teams fall down a little bit more before we jump back in. Because inevitably, that's the way baseball works. It's in cycles. Washington had their cycle, won a World Series, getting closer, not quite there yet. Cruz is a big ad, though, for them.
A couple of pieces, Dylan Cruz, James Wood, as Craig mentioned, Mackenzie Gore, the young starting pitcher, has been promising at times here in 2024 for Washington to be slightly optimistic about moving forward. Paul Skeens 1, Dylan Cruz 2 in the 2023 MLB draft out of LSU. It was a great year, of course, for the Bayou Bengals. National League MVP race, if there still is one. Shohei Ohtani joining the 40-40 club over the weekend at minus 2,300. Francisco Lindor does have the second best price for the Mets, Craig, at 5-1. Obviously, the odds say this is over, but the reason it could be a conversation is because Shohei Ohtani is a designated hitter. We have never seen a non-positional player win an MVP, but in your mind, is the race already done?
Yeah, it's over. I think you saw most of the books take down Caitlin Clark's odds to win Rookie of the Year, and I think you're going to see the Ohtani MVP odds get shut down pretty soon here. I mean, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, Ben. I mean, that's just unheard of. I mean, it's never happened in Major League Baseball, so that's going to happen for him. The good thing about Lindor is it's given him some nice attention and some pub because he's a really good player, Hall of Fame trajectory, but Ohtani's the MVP, open and shut case.
Big game out on the West Coast tonight. East Coast versus West Coast. That's the Baltimore Orioles and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Irving versus Flaherty, a heavy favorite at the FanDuel Sportsbook, close to a $2 favorite on the Dodgers. But the bigger thing is the Dodgers need to keep that pace of play up to void off some of those teams heading towards them in the end in the West. But also Baltimore, they got to stay afloat here before the Yankees get too much of a lead on them, Craig. What are we looking at from this series out there?
Yeah, I mean, Orioles pitching struggling a little bit, but let's get real. I mean, these two teams aren't separated by all that much. And you have a minus 200 in LA against Baltimore. I could not lay that. So, I mean, either today would be plus 1.5 for Baltimore, just taking the Orioles, on the money line there. Look, the Dodgers are probably the better team in one day, and Cole Irvin is not great, and Flaherty's been better. But, guys, I mean, this is, Orioles just hit 1 3-run home run with Anthony Santander, and they win the game. So I would not necessarily fade LA, but I would not lay 200 against a team that's projected to make the postseason and finish with one of the best records in the American League.
Yeah, the O's still 76-56, 11-12 in August, 18-8 since the All-Star break. They've been frankly mediocre since the All-Star break, but still an optimistic outlook for October. Craig Mish, again, thank you for the Royals over win total. And we'll see you on Newswire starting in just about 40 minutes at 11 a.m. Eastern Time here on SportsGrid. More MLB breakdowns come your way next on the Early Line.
I told y'all time and time again, Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup fall. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
That's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about 20.
Not a bad one. The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
After a historic Monday in Major League Baseball, we get you set for a full slate Tuesday. But before we do that, one more time, a nod to history, an ode to Danny Jansen, he was in two places at once yesterday. Donnie right side as he gets ready to break down the MLB slate on this Tuesday on both the right and left side, living up to both parts of his personality to get you set for this MLB slate on Tuesday. Does Donnie left side want to ask Donnie right side the rotation number of our first game tonight, Baltimore and LA, the Dodgers and the O's out of the ravine?
Yeah, before we get to that, like, you see the way this setup is on the screen right now that you guys are watching right now? You know what's fun about this? This is me every single day on radio here. It's me talking to myself back and forth, alter ego, getting angry, getting excited, giving out winners here. So this is, look at the, like, what do you mean there's two of them here? There's two of me every day on the radio going back and forth with myself. So there you go. Energize.
I thought you called it a solo mission. It's a double mission, really, even though it's just
there's
you.
a two-box. There's a two-box out there. Somebody's got to fill up the time with it at that point here. You know what I mean? The show's set up for two, but always ends up with one, and away we go.
Listen, the guy's got a lot of things happening right now as we get ready for football season.
I mean, the guy shows up at work at night, not in the afternoon. I mean, what's going on behind the scenes here? I mean, where is the chemistry and where is the work ethic from these young kids at the network? It's just not there anymore.
Well, some of us can't manufacture our schedule perfectly to line up with when we break our fast and be done by noon each and every day. But hey, I'll leave that for another time. Let's get into the actual baseball breakdown, shall we? And that matchup we just looked at with Craig Mish. World Series preview? Question mark? Tonight at the Ravine in downtown L.A., the Dodgers and Jack Flaherty, who was going up against his former team in Baltimore. He was traded last year at the trade deadline to the O's, spent very little time in the Charm City. The Dodgers are nearly a $2 favorite. Against the O's, is the price too steep tonight in Los Angeles?
I don't know if it is here. You ever see the meme or the little short video there where Andre the Giant's in the wrestling ring and basically is like, no, doesn't want anybody to come after him? That's what Baltimore is doing tonight with Cole Irvin on the mound, because over the past 60 days, I got 26 pitchers ranked on this card with 20 innings pitched. You know who the worst right now is? Put that meme up there if we have it. No, it's Cole Irvin. We don't want to see any. I mean, the Dodgers should be able to hammer at the plate tonight. Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Kike Hernandez. Any Hernandez you want is going to be able to get base knocks tonight for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So that meme is right there. The guy you don't want on the mound is Cole Irvin, but that's the guy you got tonight for the Orioles. How about that? Yeah. See that, man.
Oh, man.
I mean, you know exactly the meme I'm talking about there.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Your
I mean, it's true, man. I mean, Cole Irvin, just not the guy you need tonight to succeed out of the West Coast for the Orioles, man. If you can ever lose two baseball games at once, this could be it with Cole Irvin on the mound. So watch out, people.
Okay. I gotta try to collect myself. I don't know if that's gonna be possible. We go to Philadelphia tonight next for game number 2 this week between the Phils and the Astros. Philadelphia walking it off courtesy of Bryce Harper last night, the RBI single to win it in 10 innings. Aaron Nola and Justin Verlander. Verlander back on the bump for his second start since he returned since early June. Made his first start last week, now start number 2. The Phils nearly $1.50 favorite at home. Total is 9. Might we see some more offense tonight in Philly?
I don't know, man. Every time I watch the Phillies game, it seems kind of tough, even because Aaron Nola is a quality pitcher. Over the past 30 days, though, 130 batters he's faced, which is interesting because he has some solid numbers, but not with ISO and weighted on base percentage, more the analytical numbers. A higher ISO power number against, a higher weighted on base percentage against. You take a look at that Houston lineup. They actually do very well against right-handed pitchers, which includes Bregman, Alvarez, Diaz, Singleton, and Pena, all in order. But if we're lining up what we're going to get out of Verlander, the question is still out there. 20 batters faced here over the past month coming back. He does have decent splits, but are we getting the Verlander that we anticipate coming back and being fully healthy throughout the rest, or is it going to be shaky starts until he gets it together? The one thing I do know, this Phillies lineup over the past 30 against right-handed pitching, terrible. Schwarber, Realmuto, everybody else horrendous, and that can't happen here. So why not just look at another under in Philadelphia? It just feels like playoff baseball is here and not a lot of hits to grab.
Listen, it's warm weather on the East Coast, but you would expect Nola and Verlander to have a much lower total than 9, at least on paper. That was called a World Series preview. The Dodgers and the O's was called a World Series preview. The Twins and the Braves, a World Series preview. It demeans the very name. George Balekji joins us next.
I told y'all time and time again. Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup fall. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to one shot. And
That's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about
Not a bad one. The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
A new NFL season is on the horizon. It is cut day around the National Football League. How many quarterbacks are the New England Patriots going to keep? Which quarterback is going to be named the starter for week number 1 for the Pats? If there is anybody that can decipher the madness this preseason has brought in the quarterback room for the Patriots in New England, it's George Balekji of Nesson joining us here on this Tuesday on the early line on SportsGrid. Georgie, as always, we thank you for your time. A ton of Patriots conversations come your way here in these next 10 minutes.
Donnie, Benny, always great talking with you guys, especially talking the madness that's happening in New England. I'll give a little hint, though. Don't start Drake May because this offensive line sucks. But we'll get into it.
Yeah, that's really where it seems to be, George. It was what the thought was entering camp and preseason when Gerard Mayo said Jacoby Brissett is our most pro-ready quarterback. He is going to be number 1. And both Donnie and I said, don't point the finger at Drake May when there's so many other issues, to let the rookie QB take the hit and the onus from the very start. And then the preseason happened. In all 3 preseason games, Gerard Mayo elected to play all 4 quarterbacks for the Pats. It ended on Sunday night in Washington against the Commanders. Jacoby Brissett, 1 possession, was injured. Drake May went out there and looked pretty good. But even after the game, Gerard Mayo had this to say following the preseason finale for New England. Drake May is, quote, our second best quarterback. Then yesterday morning on WEEI in Boston, that's a radio station, Gerard Mayo had this to say, quote, Drake has outplayed Jacoby, end quote. So, George, make it make sense for us. What is Gerard Mayo even saying?
So he was asked, if Jacoby Brissett gets hurt, is Drake May the guy that'll come into the game? And Gerard Mayo goes, 100%. Drake May is our second best quarterback. And then there was a follow-up from Phil Perry, who does a great job covering the team, going, is that a yes? And Gerard Mayo said, I don't know. I need to watch film. What do you need to watch film of, Gerard? He needs to watch film of this offensive line. He can't go out and admit it because I believe he will lose a locker room. He will lose a team because they will go, wait, hold on. We're showing up, putting our bodies on the line, getting our butts kicked to win football games. But the best quarterback to give us the best chance is Drake May, but you won't put him in because you don't trust the offensive line. So again, you're not trying to win games. And honestly, that's the worst kept secret. We're saying the quiet thing out loud right now because everything is all rotating around Drake May and his success. Because if Drake May pans out, then the Patriots have their guy and their quarterback for the next 8 to 10 years. But if they rush him behind a bad offensive line and all the progress he's made, because coming out of UNC, he was raw, awful footwork, bad mechanics, not good at processing. And this was a guy who said, we'll have to wait a year or two to really see paybacks and a return on that high draft pick. He has come so far. We talk about that Commanders game. He was making plays with poise, moving around the pocket without a clean pocket ever because the offensive line was makeshift due to injuries. But with anticipatory throws, making multiple reads, delivering the ball downfield, being accurate, his best throw of the night was negated because his left tackle couldn't line up properly on the left side of the line of scrimmage. Rolling left, throwing across his body as a righty, finding a dart to KJ Osborne, who made a great play after the catch for a touchdown. But you cannot put Drake May behind this offensive line. It's not because they're bad, and I'm not afraid of him playing football. It's they don't give him a fighting chance. At Bengals, home against Seattle, at the Jets, at San Francisco. Those are their first 4 games. Come home, Dolphins, Texans, 2 elite defensive lines and defenses. We'll see how healthy Miami is. On the road at London, I don't want his first start coming in a neutral site. Everything changes on London. I don't think he should play till week 9, but it's not because of Drake May. He is ready right now. He is their best quarterback. This offensive line isn't ready, and this receiving group isn't ready. Jalen Polk, Tyquan Thornton, KJ Osborne, that's your top 3. That's not good for any rookie quarterback. He's only 21 years old. He only had 2 full seasons of starting at UNC. He's very young. He's not a Jaden Daniels, a 6-year player that's 24. He's not a Trevor Lawrence that was a 3-year starter. You can't compare him to these guys, even to Caleb Williams. Yeah, similar in age, but started a season at OU, then, of course, played 2 years at USC. You cannot compare him to these guys with his football experience. And the most important thing, guys, is you do not want him to digress back to UNC Drake May. You want him to keep progressing to be an NFL Drake May.
It's such good points all the way around, George, because if you can take a look and say, okay, what are the Atlanta Falcons doing? Michael Penix comes in. He has had a lot of starts in college, but you have that Pro Bowl quarterback ahead of him, so he can still learn about the NFL. Even if you go back to the Green Bay days 25 years ago, Brett Favre, and you take a look at Aaron Rodgers, like, okay, well, he can sit behind him here, no pressure, and they did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers going right over to Love. But now you're looking at a team that's saying, okay, we drafted a quarterback high. We're expected to be bad. You have to let that young quarterback out there spin. And sometimes you just date yourself right back to the Texans when they got David Carr. All right, we have high expectations, but the team was so bad around him. Number one, you're going to get him injured. But number two, all of those bad habits that you can gain because you don't have confidence that you can even make it, George, to your second, let alone third read here. You're just dumping the football off. That's the problem that you have. So let me ask you this question. The landing spot must be later in the season for Drake May. Or you're right about this. The locker room looks to you, and similar to what I talk about a lot with the Las Vegas Raiders is the reason why that head coach got the job is because he looks those players in the face and say, you're the best man right now for this job. You're going to go out there and play football. How do you sell that to the locker room? And also, is there a chance in your mind that Drake May, week number 1, he is your starting quarterback?
I don't think there's a chance. And again, what we've heard all offseason long, but that's a great point, Donnie, is that they kept saying, hopefully this unit, this offensive line unit we see against the Commanders, that solidifies the 5 guys we'll have up front. Well, Vidarian Lowe got hurt, so that moved your starting right tackle to the left side and moved your starting right guard to right tackle, and it inserted a rookie at right guard. But then during the Commanders game, their starting left guard, Sidney So, left the locker room after the game in a walking boot because he was injured. They still don't know the 5 guys up front. Until they know the 5 guys up front, Drake May will not start. And guess what? They have less than 2 weeks until they're on the road facing a Lou Anarumo defense in Cincinnati, trying to keep up with the Joe Burrow offense. But to get to your point later, and that's my thing too, I go back and forth. Isn't it on a head coach to go publicly, and I'm sure he's saying this behind closed doors, this offensive line is not ready to protect any quarterback? That'll get them to wake up. That'll be some tough love. That'll have these guys who are paid professionals and adults to look within themselves and go, how do I be the best left tackle, right tackle, so on and so forth. But they don't know the best 5 guys up front. And until they get that, they can't be honest with either quarterback they put there. And here's the thing to admit, too, the tough thing as well, Donnie. If he says, we're not playing Drake May because of this offensive line, what does Jacoby Brissett say? What am I, just a piece of meat? Which he is. He's a bridge quarterback. You're on a one-year deal, Jacoby. You don't turn the ball over, but you're not that great. Drake May is a future. Everything is a 3-4 year plan. Because also, this is a 4-win team right now. With Drake May, maybe they win 6. They won't actually be contenders or a serious team in the playoffs 2.5, 3 years from now.
A 4-13 record in the 24th and final year under Bill Belichick in Foxborough. 4.5 is the win total for New England entering the first year of the Gerard Mayo era. It is the lowest win total in the National Football League. So, Georgie, in the final minute of this segment, whether it's Jacoby, whether it's Drake, what is your expectation for the Pats in 2024?
4 wins. They'll win week 2 at Seattle. Maybe they win neutral site and beat the Jaguars. But keep in mind, this is an offense with a really bad offensive line, inexperienced receivers. We don't know who will be their quarterback for 17 games, let alone for the next 4 weeks. They lost Christian Barmore indefinitely as he's dealing with blood clots. I hope he's okay because that's more than football. That's life. And they traded away Matt Judon. They lost their 2 best defensive players. This was a top 5 defense coming in. That defense drops to top 10. Well, if you have an offense that can't support you, how does that help the defense? They can only do so much. There's so much at stake here, but then also just look at how their schedule lays out. 2 West Coast trips, facing a really great division in the AFC West, even tough games when they go out after their really late bye week. A rookie head coach, a rookie offensive play caller, a rookie defensive coordinator. There's a lot here. This is 4 wins again. But you know what, Ben? You know what, Donnie? That gets you Campbell, the left tackle from LSU, and Patriots fans have to love that. It sucks, but they have to love it.
Best tackle in college football. Georgie knows what's up. MLB breakdowns next.
I told y'all time and time again, Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup ball. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to 1 shot. And that's a good point. And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about 20.
Not a bad one. The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
All right, we've got some issue here. We're demeaning the very word and the prestige that is World Series in Major League Baseball. But we can't ask the question for 3 different games in 3 different spots around the Tuesday MLB card. Baltimore and LA, the Dodgers and the O's. That feels fitting. The Phillies and the Astros, I'd hear that as well. The Twins and the Braves? The Twins and the Braves? As World Series preview in Minneapolis today.
Look, they played before in the World Series.
So, good point.
I mean, come on now.
Good point.
Yep, see that?
That is a pretty good point.
Maybe
it's a near pick of
Yep.
DRS. Near pickup today in Minneapolis. Total of 8.5. What do you like here after Atlanta plates 10 yesterday to open up the midweek set with a win?
I don't know if Atlanta plates 10 again today, but my goodness, Spencer Schwellenbach, fresh off of that start against the Philadelphia Phillies, where he sliced and diced them here. We're taking a look overall and say to ourselves, all right, look at Schwellenbach. Last 30 days in baseball, 98 batters he's faced, a 141 ISO, and a weighted on base percentage of 268 against. I do like that lineup for the Minnesota Twins, but I'm going to ride the hot hand of Schwellenbach and take a look at Woods Richardson. Over the past 30 days, 107 batters he's faced. He's actually struggled mightily against right-handed batters, so maybe they'll be the focal point tonight. Whit Merrifield, 5 base hits yesterday. Soler back in the lineup. Marcell Ozuna's got great numbers here. Even from a lefty perspective, which Woods Richardson has been very good against, maybe Olsen with that 348 ISO through his last 78 at-bats against right-handed pitching can step up to the plate. I think Atlanta's the better team, on better lineup today, and also better pitcher. Give me Atlanta once again.
The Braves have won 7 of their last 9. They're not going to catch more than likely the Phils in the National League East or even the 2 teams in front of them in the National League wild card, but they are building up a pretty substantial advantage. Now 3 games over the Mets. Just quickly on Spencer Schwellenbach, who made 6 starts when he debuted in MLB at the end of May through the end of June. He was 1-4 with a 5.6 ERA. In his 8 starts since, 4 in July, 4 in August. He is now 5-6. He has won 4 of those 8, and he has lowered his ERA to 3.94, the best it has been this year in MLB. Better for Atlanta as of late. So again, the Braves, a 3-game advantage over the New York Mets as the Mets had the day off yesterday and start a difficult series today in Arizona against the Diamondbacks team who has won 6 straight games. The D-backs an ever so slight favorite at home today in Phoenix, minus 116, total of 8.5. What's the play?
Yeah, I might be leaning a little bit towards the New York Mets in this game. You take a look at Sean Manaea over the past 30 days. He's been wonderful. 122 batters that he's faced, Ben. Look at that ISO, 114, and a weighted on base percentage of 233. If we take a look at his last 60 2/3 innings over the past 60 days, how about an ERA, Ben? 2.97 and an xFIP number of 3.86. How does this factor in? You take a look at that Arizona Diamondbacks lineup that we love to bet typically on a night-to-night basis, but they've actually struggled with left-handed pitching over the past month. You take a look at the first 5 guys in that lineup, Perdomo, McCarthy, Gurriel, Bell, and Grichuk, all solid hitters. But look at the ISO power numbers, 0, 139, 107, 148, and 120 here. Maybe Manaea can quiet the bats here for the Arizona Diamondbacks enough to get that offense going. But at the same time, it's not like we love that Mets lineup tonight either. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. He actually has average statistics, if you want to say, over the past month, but also from a Mets perspective, they have struggled hitting left-handed pitching. So I do like the Mets in sort of a coin toss here, but maybe the better look overall is just taking an under in this game.
So now we go to St. Louis. The Padres continue to keep pace with the Diamondbacks and even the Dodgers in the National League West. Arizona, 4.5 games up over Atlanta for the top spot in the National League wild card chase. And San Diego, or just 4 games, but San Diego 1 game back of Arizona, but still 3 games in front of Atlanta. The Padres winning yesterday in St. Louis, courtesy of 3 ribbies apiece from both Manny Machado and the National League Rookie of the Year favorite in Jackson Merrill. San Diego, a pretty hefty favorite today. They were a dog on Monday with Dylan Cease on the bump. Will the good times keep rolling for the Padres?
Yeah, interesting, too, because without remembering exactly these last starts, I want to say Dylan Cease got knocked around and Miles Michaelis had a decent performance. So it's almost like a role reverse of what I thought was going to happen when those two took the mound. We take a look today. Dylan Cease still technically the better overall pitcher. Last 60 days in Major League Baseball, 56 1/3 innings pitched, a 2.72 ERA, and an xFIP of 3.11. So we're lining that up against a lineup for myself with the Cardinals. I don't like all that much. Now let's flip it over to Miles Michaelis. Last 30 days, you're getting some good and some bad, but look at that lineup for the Padres. If you remove Luis Campusano from that lineup, the catcher, who's due to bat 8th, every single other player elevated weighted on base percentages over the past month against right-handed pitching. The San Diego Padres, man, continue to stay hot, and I think they do that once again today, Ben.
Yeah, San Diego now 16-7 in the month of August, 9-14, however, the mark for the Redbirds, and they are fading out of postseason contention in the National League. Dylan Cease has given up 8 earned runs in 4 total full starts since the no-no at the end of July. Not bad by any means, but has lost 2 of his last 3 starts. There is a chance there's a new team atop the American League Central standings by the time we speak tomorrow on a Wednesday. However, the Guardians, a -158 favorite to stay in front of the Royals. Michael Lorenzen was great last week for KC. The total is 9. If Kansas City wins, we are tied atop the AL Central with the Royals and the Guardians. Does that happen today in the land?
I do think the advantage would be towards the Royals, but if we're taking a look at the total in this ballgame, I think that might be the best way to play it and play it to the over. The reason is Michael Lorenzen, take a look at his last 30 days. He's faced 108 batters. He actually has very good ISO and weighted on base percentages, but how real are those numbers? And I like to say again, dancing between the raindrops without getting wet. Why? I have him as 25th pitcher out of 26 over the past 60 days with an xFIP number of 5.63. That means he gives up too many fly balls, doesn't strike out enough guys, and the ball will be in play. You also keep in mind, in Cleveland today, Ben, 90-degree temperatures at first pitch with an 8-mile-an-hour wind blowing out to right field. If we focus on those Kansas City batters, Gavin Williams isn't a great pitcher. Last 105 batters he's faced an ISO 226, which is elevated. Weighted on base percentage 348. Look at the lineup here. Massey, Witt, Pasquantino, Melendez, Fermin, all high weighted on base percentages today. Yeah. Forget about the side itself. Take the total. I think both of these teams bring their bats out today, and we get a total to the over.
Bobby Witt Jr. hit the game-winning home run in the first game of the doubleheader. Salvi had 6 RBIs for KC in Game 2. DRS, enjoy the money line. We'll talk tomorrow here on the early line when we round out the show on the other side of the break.
I told y'all time and time again, Trey Murphy the third. Trey Murphy the third. I'm telling y'all, this guy can absolutely ball as a 3-and-D guy, and he's going to take the next step.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Hey, let's say it comes down for Matt Kuchar in the FedEx Cup ball. Let's say he doesn't make a cut, and it comes down to 1 shot. And
that's a good point.
And he keeps his card for the top 125 because he did make the jump from, I think it was 113 to 103. So he made a 10-spot jump. So he's got, 17, or let's see, that was not good math. He's got about 20.
Not a bad one. The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, the only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
The Mariners opened up their midweek set last night at home in the Northwest with a 5-1 victory over the Rays. It was Randy Arozarena, a 3-run home run against his former team in Tampa, propelling Seattle to that win. Now 3.5 games back of the Astros for the top spot in the American League West. The Stros have dropped 5 of their last 7 games and are the road underdog today in Philadelphia, where Seattle is a pretty hefty home favorite against the Rays once again. Take a look at that total, 6.5 up in Seattle. Jeffrey Springs gets the start for the Rays. The all-star for Seattle, Logan Gilbert, is on the bump. And I did want to make this point. Logan Gilbert has a fascinating story this year in MLB from a stat perspective. He is an all-star in the American League. He has the 10th best ERA of any qualified starting pitcher at a 3.21, and up until a bad start last week against the Dodgers, that was sub-3. His record is 7-10. He's an all-star with a 7-10 record for Seattle, and he has dropped. In fact, he has earned a decision in his last 6 starts. He has lost 5 of them, despite in that not being terrible except in 2 spots against the Red Sox to end out July and in his most recent start against the Dodgers. Just something to keep in mind when you see that very low total of 6.5 today in Seattle. More news after George Balekji joined us here in this third and final hour from Nesson about the quarterback room in New England. No, Gerard Mayo has not named the starting quarterback officially for week number 1 and the Patriots, but Bailey Zappi, who played in all 3 preseason games for the Pats and had spent the past 2 years in New England, has been released by the Patriots. What exactly does the QB room look like beyond that? Will Jacoby Brissett be QB1? Will it be Drake May? What's the future for Joe Milton III in that quarterback room in New England? This is the future of Dabo Swinney's radio show in Clemson, South Carolina. Dabo Swinney will no longer take live calls from fans on his weekly radio show. The new format is called Tiger Sports Hour with Dabo Swinney. Fans will be able to submit questions to him via text or email. The first show was last night at 8 p.m. on 1055 The Roar near Clemson. Of course, this follows a season ago where a passionate Clemson fan named Tyler from Spartanburg called out Dabo Swinney about the direction of the Clemson football program. And you know who was right? Tyler. You know who has not done the right thing? Dabo. Tyler from Spartanburg with better ideas about the future of Clemson's football program than that of Dabo Swinney. Ben, how can you say that? Clemson, after Florida State's upset loss to Georgia Tech, is now booked as the favorites to win the ACC before 2024 in college football fully gets underway. It's a 3-1 number. Clemson has won 7 ACC titles in the last 9 years within that conference. They have been dominant. They've been a double-digit win football team for most of the past decade and a half. I guess you're right. Last year, though, only 9 wins for the Clemson Tigers in 4 conference losses in the ACC. The most that Clemson had suffered since Dabo's second full year at the helm in Clemson, South Carolina in 2010. And it's been a story for Clemson of negative regression. Those first 6 ACC titles that I mentioned each and every year from 2015 to 2020 also accompanied a college football playoff berth for the Tigers in 2 national championships as well in 2016 and 2018. Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, the 3 programs in the 10-year history of the 4-team format of the college football playoff to win multiple national titles. So how in the world could we say that Clemson, despite 3 decently bad years based on relative expectation, is in decline? Because that is the beauty of college football, and part of it that can be a little bit difficult to maintain. When you set yourself up as a national powerhouse and a national championship contender, because not many FBS programs can really live up to that billing, you are expected to see that threshold of success each and every year. And it's where Clemson has fallen short. And oh, by the way, this decline matches up perfectly with where NIL became a thing in college football. An idea Dabo Swinney so famously hates that he said if players get paid, he will retire from college football. He has not yet, and Clemson has struggled because the Tigers have failed to adapt with the current climate in college football. Might this year be better? 8.5 the win total for the Tigers. I'm not sure a college football playoff berth is in store for the Tigers in 2024. Donnie is back tomorrow on the early line, 8 a.m. Eastern time on SportsGrid.